nasal ventilation in preterm lambs without respiratory distress. Non-invasive mechanical ventilation, widely used in premature infants, must be synchronized with the respiratory muscle activity. The presence of non-synchronized inspiratory muscle contractions under mechanical ventilation has been studied. The presence of expiratory muscle activity during non-invasive ventilation, however, remains largely unknown. The goal of this study is to describe and compare abdominal muscle activity during nasal support ventilation and nasal neurally adjusted ventilatory assist in preterm lambs without respiratory distress. 8 preterm lambs were recorded on postnatal day 9 during PSV and NAVA, and we looked at the abdominal muscle contraction during basal ventilation, body movement, imposed hypercapnia, and auto-triggering and delayed cycling events. Now for the result. Here we see the baseline phasic expiratory muscle activity comparing PSV and NAVA with the percentage of cycle with abdominal muscle contraction. In blue represents the mean. We see that there is no significant difference when comparing both ventilatory mode. Now we see the effect of a body movement under NAVA. We see it over time, and we see the abdominal muscle activity, the integrated signal, mask pressure, thorax, and the EDI. We can see the beginning of the movement, and it impacts the mask pressure with the abdominal contraction for a period of about 10 seconds. Now we looked at the ventilation disturbance after a movement, comparing PSV and NAVA in seconds, and we also saw no significant difference. For the effect of hypercapnia on phasic expiratory abdominal activity, we can see here a clear phasic abdominal muscle activity during hypercapnia. Now when we compared normal capnia and hypercapnia with the percentage of cycle in abdominal muscle, we saw that there is a significant increase of phasic expiratory abdominal muscle activity during PSV. Now we compared, now here's an example of auto-triggering and delayed cycling. And we saw in both cases that there is rarely any phasic abdominal muscle activity. And for the result, our result illustrates that abdominal muscle contractions during nasal ventilation for the first time in neonatal period. In the absence of respiratory distress, phasic expiratory abdominal muscle activity is rare, apart from transient body movement. Moderate hypercapnia stimulates expiratory abdominal muscle activity. Abdominal muscle activity is rare in auto-triggering and delayed cycling event, and the recognition of unwanted expiratory efforts during non-invasive ventilation is important to guide respiratory care in neonatal period.